Hey guys, you're listening to the Driven Nutrition Podcast.
If you're not following these steps as a business owner, you're missing out on a huge opportunity to help your community.
It's about more than that. It's about me wanting to take my box to the next level.
Welcome to the Beyond Driven Podcast from Driven Nutrition, where we talk about everything beyond supplements, exercising fast, and life in general. Pretty much anything that comes to mind.
For more information about Driven Nutrition, head over to www.drivennutrition.com.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Beyond Driven Podcast. I'm your host today, Brenton Rogo, and I am joined by a good friend of mine, Mike Richards. What's up, Mike?
Yo, what's up, man? It's good to see you.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you, man. We're just going to talk a little bit about you, man. I know your hand is in a lot of different areas of the CrossFit community, so I'm super excited just for everybody to get to know you a little bit. You have a super inspiring story, which we're going to get into that later as well. And you know, let's just get right to it, man. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Mike. Who are you, brother?
Oh, man, 42 years old. I hate saying that. I'm wearing a hat because I'm shiny and ain't nothing left up there. But other than that, 42 years old, been a fireman, firefighter paramedic for 20 years. That sounds crazy. Been doing CrossFit since 2009. Started working with HQ as a CrossFit Games MC in 2014. I'm just an average Joe, man. Father of two. Pretty decent husband, I think. She's somewhere out there. I don't want to. She might have a different opinion, but I don't know. So, yeah, man, I'm a basic dude. So just trying to have some fun and trying to ride the wave, you know.
Man, that's great. It's cool that you've been involved with CrossFit since 2009. I actually didn't know that. That's kind of almost OG status. I mean, you're getting close to that 10-year mark now, and that's crazy.
I didn't know, like, how new CrossFit was when I started. But now looking back over that, I can see the evolution and how a lot has changed over time. And I'm not a real great historian as far as a lot of that CrossFit nostalgia goes. I just know that, oh yeah, I used to do that, or that's kind of old school. And when I say that and I tell people, yeah, man, I feel like I'm an OG when it comes to CrossFit. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, it's only like 10 years that people really knew about it. It's been around for a lot longer than that, but it's really hit in the last 10 years, and people think it's just brand new. And I'm like, no, man, it goes way back.
Yeah, I was introduced to it around like 2011, so going up on you about 7 years now, and I remember I looked at it as a military thing. Like the reason I knew about it was I had a bunch of buddies that were in the military, and that was how they trained. And I was like, I went to the gym one day, saw a bunch of badasses, you know, shirts off, throwing weight around, and I was like, oh, I could do this. I had no interest in being in the military, but I liked that lifestyle. And the next thing I knew, I was introduced to competing and you know, all the different other aspects of CrossFit. So
absolutely. I mean, being a firefighter, firemen are very paramilitary. So I was never in the military, and man, hats off and kudos to those guys, because true BAs, you know what I mean? Like, but being a fireman, that's kind of how I found CrossFit, and needing to find something else. Someone just sort of dropped that name. They said, hey, have you ever tried CrossFit? And I'm like, I didn't want to say, I didn't know what it was. And I was like, yeah, I know what that is. Totally lying. But yeah, that's how I found it.
Cool. Let's talk a little bit more about that, man. How did that all go? How did it start? Were you already a fireman at that point, or tell me a little bit about that?
No, man. It was kind of a rough point in my life, and everybody has a story, and so and I think that you should embrace that, because really, that's your life. I mean, your story. You only get one go around this world, so embrace the good and the bad. I think the bad has to fuel, what ultimately is your legacy. So as a fireman, I started in 1997, so 20 years this year.
Yep.
And I had kind of relied on my youth for quite a long time. And right before I kind of found CrossFit, I was just talking about this yesterday. Actually, I was working on a structure fire yesterday, and someone was there that was at this particular fire that I was working at. And I said, hey, man, do you remember this one fire. It was a basement fire. It was super hot. It was kind of in the middle of the night. It was about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I went in, we were working, and I came out, and I was giving an update. Hey, man, we're pushing in on this fire. It's tough. I'm getting my ass kicked. Sorry, I better keep it clean. I'm getting my ass kicked, and my bottle's empty. And they're like, oh, okay, well, change your bottle and go back in. And I was like, okay. I was spent, absolutely spent. Unfortunately, I will tell you this, and not a lot of people know this. My wife at the time didn't even know how much I weighed. It's really tough for me to talk about. I was just under 350 pounds. So that's really tough. 348, I think, is where I stopped keeping track. And I think I carried it well, just kind of all around. But so I worked this fire, put another bottle on, went back in, and I literally thought I was going to die just because I was so out of shape. And that's the night that I decided I can't do this anymore. I have to change. I have to do this for my guys that are with me to protect them. And literally, I didn't want someone to have to leave me in a fire to die because I was too heavy to pull out of the fire. Something should happen, and I couldn't perform my job. So that was really tough for me. So during that couple-week period, I was trying to think about how I could change my life and different things like that. And I make fun of my wife because I used to call her a fitness forcer because at the time she was running a lot. She was just, I would go out and run a 5K, blah, blah, blah. She was just running all the time. She's like, hey, you should go run with me. I'm like, that's dumb. I'm not going to go run. I hate running. And I remember sitting watching the show, The Biggest Loser. I would watch The Biggest Loser, like sitting there eating like microwave pizza or something. I mean, it was terrible. Like, I don't want to be motivated to just eating. And so with riding 4-wheelers, I always rode dirt bikes and 4-wheelers. We just happened to have a bunch of us riding 4-wheelers one weekend, and I got a pretty bad wreck. So broke a bunch of bones, was in the hospital for about a week, and during this process was just like, it was completely miserable. I mean, I broke like 5 ribs in my leg, and was in the hospital for a week, came home, was bedridden because I couldn't walk in a walker, I was in a wheelchair. Terrible, man. It was like, I could talk about it for hours, how bad it was to see your wife and the kids to kind of like go to bed, and like you're in a hospital bed at your house, and like you're just kind of like, hey, see you guys later, whatever. And it was pretty, probably the lowest point in my life. And after that, I started to rehab. Like, you got to get back to work as soon as possible. And I'm like, man, I want to get back to work like 6 weeks. They're like, well, if you have at least 6 broken bones, that might be tough. 6 weeks could be tough. Right. I'm like, NFL players do it all the time. So why not? I'm also 5'8", so it wasn't really the same thing. Right. So I just started doing rehab, and I'm doing rehab 2 or 3 times a week, trying to figure out how to walk and the ribs and the lungs and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is kind of cool, man. I'm literally just pushing myself around an office building on a stool, and I'm getting a workout. And I'm like, how embarrassing is this? And I'm drenched in sweat, pushing myself on a stool, like an office stool. And the guy was like, yeah, this is cool. You're working really hard. I'm like, man, it's kind of like having a personal trainer. So I get back to work in about 9 weeks. And I feel great. Lost a couple pounds. I think I'm the only dude that broke a bunch of bones and was bedridden and lost weight. I don't think that happens normally. I think you gain a lot of weight. So, I mean, my wife was making me dinner, and she'll probably deny this forever. But she's like, here's your dinner. And I'm like, this, like chicken, like and broccoli and stuff. I'm like, so, I mean, it's just between you and probably for you, it's probably a couple million followers. But dude, once I could get myself into my wheelchair and wheel myself to the refrigerator, I was like killing like 6 packs of snack packs, like pudding and stuff. It was terrible. Like, I gotta put back on some weight. So I get back to work, and my chief at the time, he was like, hey, you're doing really well. And I'm like, I'm trying, you know, I really got to make a change. He was a marathon at the time. Again, with the running. So I said, let's talk about it. You know, where do I want to be, or what do I got to do to start running? And he's like, oh, you should, you know, I'll talk about running, but have you ever tried CrossFit? I'm like, yeah, you know, of course.
No idea what he was talking about.
This is 2009 too, so think about the internet in 2009. Most of the people watching probably weren't like kids,
Right.
But I go and I like Google. I don't even know what it was Google at the time, but I do a search for CrossFit. I honestly believe it might have been, it was somebody doing Fran, the first video that came up. And you think about 2009, it was bananas. I mean, anything CrossFit was either really bad visually
Right.
on a video, or just amazingly like, are you kidding me? These people are doing this kind of stuff.
Right.
So I was like, I don't know what I was talking about. Like, this is unbelievable. There's no way I could do this. So I literally, someone says, oh, it was my chief. He said, well, my wife does it at this XYZ CrossFit. I'm like, that's like 3 miles away. And she's like 60 years old. No offense to anybody that's 60 years old. But at the time, being in my mid-30s, I'm like, well, she can do it. Absolutely, I can do it. I'm like 34, you know? Like, there's no way I can't do it.
Right.
And so I signed up for a class. Go in there, they did the newbie workout. I won't say what the workout is, but it was horrible. Like, in hindsight, being a coach now, level 2 coach, I would never put anybody through that. It was so terrible.
It was 2009. There wasn't a lot of understanding about what to do.
I mean, I'll even say it right now. I think it was like 6 rounds of rowing 500 and 50 air squats. Just to the mat. From going from somebody that's completely sedentary and just overweight, out of shape, the legs and the lactic acid alone were just horrific. So I convinced a friend of mine to go. He wanted to be a police officer. So he was like, I'm going to go to the police academy. I'll get in shape. Yeah, I'll do that with you. Cool. We go to this class. The owner tells me as we leave, I mean, this workout's for me forever. He tells me when we leave, hey, man, you seem like a nice guy, but don't worry about it. Most people don't come back. That should have been my clue right there. That number one, I might be in the wrong place, but whatever. It was weird. It was odd. But I stuck it out, and I signed up for the next day. I said, I'll sign up right now because I'll be so sore tomorrow. I want to not commit.
Yeah.
So I called my buddy. He's like, yeah, we'll do like the 4:30 class. I said, sure, I'll meet you there. I'm pulling into the joint, and my phone's ringing. I flip my flip phone open because it was like, you know, a flip phone at the time. And he's like, hey, man, I can't go. I'm like,
What?
okay. So I go in, dude, and literally, that's it. I just grind through it, and that was it, man. I was like, this is the change I need. Everything was different. Every single workout was different. It was the place where I felt so comfortable. I mean, being a CrossFit Games MC, I mean, you know this, we work together a lot, and you know, people would consider us extroverts, really. I mean, we have to speak in front of 10,000 people or more, and that's not necessarily the case. And
Right.
In a private setting, when you are at your most vulnerable, for me, that's the roughest. It's not in my comfort zone. It definitely wasn't at the time. I didn't know what it meant to be, man, like embracing the suck that deep, you know, at that time. And so for me, it was just like, I'm 34, 35 years old. I have to be, I'm a fireman. I run into burning buildings. Of course I could do this workout.
Yeah.
And I did everything. Drive down the street, then throw up on the side of the road. I mean, all this stuff. And I'm like, I got to go back and I got to do that. Hey guys, I'm here. Just faking it till you make it. And it was absolutely what I needed. It was the change. From that point on, literally everything in my life got better. I mean, it sounds so cliche. And if you're new to CrossFit, you know what I'm feeling. But if you're an OG to CrossFit, you have to remember that feeling of why you kept going. Even that first little honeymoon period, you know, when was like, oh man, I got the wrist straps, I got the headband, the Rich Froning headband on, the, you know, whatever, the knee sleeves, the long socks, the Nanos, the first Nanos. I'm so ashamed I threw my first Nanos away. They were so beat up when I finally did it. I swear I'd never throw them away. That's one ever.
You could sell those things for like $300 now.
Not as smelly as these shoes were. No tread left. They might as well have been just old. I call them baloney skins, man. If you're from the woods, you know what baloney skins are. Just flat, no tread left at all. They were awesome. So yeah, that's my story, man. I never look back. I never wanted to be that person again. And I think each of us struggle with, you know, arguably undiagnosed eating disorder. I'll say it. I'll put it right out there because right now, if you put a pizza in front of me, I would have a hard time not eating some. But that's how it goes. But you just have to, okay, maybe you do it and then you just get right back at it. And you have to just keep grinding away. And I'm not, if you look at me, I'm not the CrossFitter coach. I'm not the athlete. I was never an athlete. And then just a barbell until I was 34 years old, really, except for, hey, we're going to bench press today, you know, the fire department, whatever. Like, just jacking your shoulders up and trying to put as much weight as you can just so you could eat some Taco Bell later. So that's my story, man.
Right. So that's cool. I'm learning a lot about you. I didn't know, man. That's awesome. I like it.
Don't let that out. I mean, this was crazy because I know a lot of people don't know probably, but, you know, we worked together a lot. We've stayed in the same hotel room and we shared a lot of moments, but that's just, even, man, that's part of me that I just don't talk about that much. And unless you're probably my wife and some really close friends, even though you are, it's still tough to talk about. So, you know, that's me.
Nah, it's really cool, man. I do want to talk a little bit more about that kind of beginner stage. You mentioned a lot of it was self-motivating. You know, you had that tick in your head that was like, I'm going to do this. You said maybe your initial meeting inside of that affiliate wasn't maybe the greatest experience with the workout and stuff, but there had to be something that they were doing right along that time that kind of helped you get where you needed to be. Let's talk a little bit about that, Mike. What do you think they did that helped the most?
I think in hindsight, it wasn't the best avenue to take with a new person. But at the time, it came across as super motivating. They didn't care how long it took me. I don't even think I was on the clock. I think they kept track. I mean, that was a thing. Everything was timed back then, but I was on the clock, but it wasn't important. It wasn't the driving force behind the workout. It was, we know you were at point A, and let's get you to point B. They talked a lot, and I think this is important. I use this still today. They talked a lot about goals and where do you want to be. And maybe you can't get here next week, but where do you want to be next year? Where do you want to be in 5 years? What's your ultimate goal? And I know personally, I'm not going to be able to keep mine. But,
right.
But I know I need to be healthier, not just for myself, but for my job. I wanted desperately to be a better father, a better husband, and I think it has a lot to do. You can't help yourself, or you can't help others until you help yourself first. And I live by it. I mean,
cool. So we were talking about workouts. You know, you were mentioning that right now you got a lot going on. It's crazy. But what did that affiliate, like we talked about, or trying to get into, is what was that affiliate doing that kind of kept you in the right mindset and going where you needed to go?
Man, it was just the intention, of why are you here? And they really did a lot of focusing on, you know, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to come here and pay a premium for this? You know, we're in a dirty warehouse. It's not very big. Like, what are you trying to do this? Why would you want to kill yourself doing something like this? And, you know, not saying, you know, obviously it was killing myself, but why do you want to do something like this versus, you know, go for a jog on the treadmill or something like that? And I was like, I'm a fireman. I mean, I should be able to do nothing in here
Right.
You know, when I get in my fire truck and I lead my crew down the street and we go down the street and I'm like, hey, the house is on fire. I should not have to freak out. I shouldn't freak out because that's my job.
Right.
I mean, if I wasn't nervous and you weren't nervous as a fireman, I think there's something wrong with you because it's a little nerve-wracking, especially as an officer in your company or whatever. But I think the workout should be the hardest thing that I do every single day. Not my job, not being a dad, not being a husband. That should be the hardest thing, and where I'm really grinding away and giving my 115%, 120%, and everything else should just sort of be cool. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and just really glide through the day. And I want that. That's where I want to get all of my nastiness out. I want to get all that stress out, and that for me is where I need to be. There was times that I'm just going to go way back, and hopefully I'm not bouncing all around the place, but there was times for me that I would go to the box, my first CrossFit gym. I would go and I would hang out. Maybe I was really too tired to work out. There was an issue. Maybe I was a little tweaked or a little, sore that day. I would go and they're like, what are you doing here today, man? You shouldn't work out today. I'm like, I'm just hanging out. I want to hang out because if I'm not here, I'm going to be at the pizza joint. Like, all you can eat, cheese stick day, whatever it is, or at the bar or something. And it was therapy for me, man. I mean, it's kind of cheesy, but I love the old shirts like people would have, like, meet me at the bar, you know what I mean? It's just a barbell or whatever, or, come to the box, blah, 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 whatever those shirts are, workout shirts and stuff. But it's so true, man, because someone probably put that together one day and goes, hey, man, this is my therapy, and, things like that. And it really is for a lot of people. I think it's so much more, man. It's not just working out, and the muscles are cool, the physiques are cool, not that I know anything about that, but everybody likes to look good naked. That's a real thing, man. I mean, but I think with that is confidence. Maybe you've only been doing CrossFit for a month and you've lost only 5 pounds, but you've just done in that month 15, 20 things that you've never accomplished ever in your life. The confidence that you have is through the roof. And I think that for some people meant a lot. And I was always in front of the crowd. I was a musician for years. That's how I made my money right out of high school, was being a musician. I did theater, community theater. I always wanted to be in TV or movies or something like that. But it's all front, man. Like it's like, hey, I'm gonna put myself out here, and I'm gonna tell a joke about me before you can tell about me. So, and that's a defense mechanism, man. And so CrossFit has given me the ability to have more confidence in that. And I don't have to be the guy that's making fun of my weight. I can just be me, and I'm goofy anyway, so I'm going to feel comfortable just being goofy. I'm going to say some dumb stuff. I'm going to say some bad jokes, but they're hilarious in my mind, and that's really the only thing that matters. I mean, people, man, I just go back to, I think it was maybe our first year at Wadapalooza, emceeing, and we're on the water, man. It's nighttime, and we were just having a conversation on the microphone to each other. And our friend came up to us and said, you guys were talking about the dumbest stuff. And I'm like, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was so just off the cuff. And that's what it's about, man. I think CrossFit gives me the ability to really be myself and not have to hide.
Yeah.
I like being out in front. I like having a microphone. That gives you a little bit of power. But CrossFit gives me the ability to, as a person, just be myself without having to put up a front for something. If that makes any sense at all.
Nah, for sure. No, I think that's, you hit it right on the head. I think that one of the biggest joys I ever got out of coaching wasn't necessarily like teaching somebody to snatch 225 or like do 10 unbroken muscle ups. The coolest experiences I ever had as a coach was the first time a client would come in, they're dead silent. They're not talking to anybody. They're looking around like, oh my God, what am I doing here? And then 6 months later, it's the same person that's like rallying the troops, like, let's freaking go. You know, they're
your biggest cheerleader.
Right.
You know, they go from point A, walking the door, and we make it a habit of telling people at the affiliate that I belong to, you know, you just did the hardest thing you could possibly do, that you'll ever do here. You walked through the door. You don't realize it, but the hardest thing you had to do, because I guarantee you just didn't drive by here and go, a CrossFit gym. You just turn in here, let's go. You probably passed here 10 times or thought about it or knew it was here, and you know, you just didn't know if you wanted to go today. Maybe I'll go tomorrow, whatever it is, or you weren't committed to that change or whatever it is. So not the people that came from a different state, new CrossFit, whatever. Just, I'm to do something different today. And once you do, I mean, it's awesome, because that feeling, today's the day, no matter what, today's the day.
Yep.
And you go change. And you have no, you change. You just change from day one. And hopefully you go back day number 2. And that's when the magic happens, because, you know, the lingo starts to get a little bit easier. The abbreviations on the workout, oh my God, it takes forever, man. Like, it's like, you know, PU. What does that mean? Like, is that, I don't know what that means. It's like push-ups, man, or you're like,
or what's a thruster? Is that
CrossFit shorthand? You know what I mean? Like HSPU. First of all, I barely do push-ups. What does the H mean? And so you start putting things together, and you're like, man, this is dumb. And then like you start talking to people in acronyms and why talk. What's a Y? What's boxes? Like, a nano. This is science. Like, then you say coach, and like you expect people to know who they're talking about. You're like, Coach Glassman, you know, the guy that changed fitness, and you're like, I don't know who this guy is. And you start calling people like by their name, the Castro. What?
Yeah.
I want people to call me that, the Mike. You know?
The mic on the mic.
I don't know. I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think you got to be pretty deep in the game if you're gonna have a before you. There's only 2 that I know of: the Castro and the Ohio State. The Ohio State, by the way. So.
I love it, man. Well, we just talked about it. You've been involved in a ton of different aspects of the community. You were, you know, a member trying to find your way, and you're a coach. You're an owner. You've done a bunch of different things. And one of the cool things I wanted to touch on was when you brought up goals. I think that's like such an easy concept for members, for coaches, for owners, but like really ingraining that into your culture is huge. Have you done anything in any of those stages that like, hey, this worked? Like, were you setting up meetings with members right at the beginning? Did you get set up in a meeting right at the beginning? Or how were you able to establish realistic goals and kind of move forward with those?
I was sort of like, I can say her name and no, you might not know, but in my first box that I was involved with, I was sort of set up with this girl, and she was a coach some days that I went there. She's like my big sister. She was like, you're going to report to her and, tell her how things are going, how you're feeling, and some nutritional programs will kind of have you do that in the morning, like when you wake up. How do you feel? How's your body? How was your sleep, kind of thing? And I was doing this to her, and I didn't understand why at the time. I do now, because it's so important in the evolution of you as an athlete. And I still, to this day, it's been so long, I hesitate to say I'm an athlete. I think we're all athletes in some aspect. But yeah, man, I was set up with her, and she was my go-to. Like, I don't feel like doing this workout. Like, I can't do that. And it was like a no-no in that facility. You can't say the word can't. Like, it's just, you just can't do it right now. And, those are the things like, so helping yourself before help others, can't right now. Those are two huge phrases that I've always kept since day one of CrossFit. And that's, I mean, I love telling somebody, hey, we're going to do handstand push-ups. And they're like, what? I've never done a handstand in my life. I'm 50-something, 60-something years old. I remember one of our athletes, in my 30th, she's mid-60s, and she was ecstatic to try to learn how to climb a rope. And once she did, she was so good at it. And because she initially told me, she's like, I can't climb a rope. I'm 60-something, you know? I'm like, you just can't do it right now. Let me show you how.
That's cool.
And it's funny because my wife is afraid of heights, and I didn't climb a rope until I taught my wife how to climb a rope. And she was climbing the rope before I was. I'm like, well, we opened our affiliate and we bought ropes and put them up, and now it's time to learn how to climb a rope, and that's when I had to climb the rope. So being a short guy, I feel like I'm pretty decent. But yeah, there's those things early on is, you know, being accountable. And she was, my CrossFit coach, she was the one I had to go to. And I would call her and text her, man, I'm wrecked. And I don't think I could come back. Whatever it was. And she was just taking me off the proverbial ledge at that point and just saying, you know, everybody goes through this. You're sore and you think you can't continue, or, you know, just remember your why. And that's a huge thing nowadays, you know, whether it's financial aspect of your life or being an entrepreneur or whatever it is. You gotta know your why. It's so true though. People, they just discount that because I've seen a YouTube clip about somebody saying, oh, know your why, pay here, whatever. So why are you doing anything in life? You know, why am I sitting here on this podcast? I don't know that yet, but I just know that you're awesome and I like hanging out with you. So, but know your why. You know, why are you doing anything in life? If you don't know why you're doing anything, probably shouldn't do it. Yeah. So
I know why you're here is because I know that the reason I wanted to ever start a podcast, and we talked about it a million times, was I wanted to get people I care about their story out there. And I always thought that you had such a cool story, and now I've even learned even more about that story, which is awesome. And you know, to me, that's what it's all about. You know, I know that we've gotten so many opportunities the last couple of years to travel and meet all these cool people. And I remember really sitting back after about that first year and a half, 2 years, and just going like, what the hell am I doing? You know, and like, what am I really doing? Like, yes, I'm traveling, I'm on the microphone, but like, what's happening based off of those events and those people that I'm meeting? And I realized that nothing was happening. And then one thing I really started applying myself was like, hey, when we go to those events, like, make a relationship that's going to last forever. Whether it's with a judge, an athlete, somebody else on staff, it didn't matter. Once I started implementing that and like forcefully kind of making myself do it, dude, next thing I knew, I have these networking communications and friends all over the globe, which like, you know, it's just a really cool thing and goes back into the why that you were talking about.
I really think the cool part is it doesn't matter who you talk to. I mean, we have the opportunity to work with some really cool people, and you know, I still kind of, I'm enamored when I see them, or we're sitting at the same table, you know, and like the CrossFit celebrities, you know what I mean? But people like Rory McCurdy, they have a day one story.
Yeah.
Everybody has a day one story. Everybody has a week one. Everybody has a 1 month story. Everybody remembers, and if they don't, they will soon because maybe they're going to get them. But everybody remembers their first muscle up, their first time they PR'd at a deadlift, the first time they did a handstand push-up, the first time they did Fran.
Right.
Who is Annie? You know, I remember, you know, those are those pivotal moments. The first time you watch a team of crazy dudes, or one dude, Josh Everett, do Kong.
Right.
That's pivotal for me. And if you don't know what any of that is, YouTube it. Kong, Josh Everett. I mean, Josh Everett's an OG, man. I mean, the OG of OGs. And I get something every time I watch an old clip. I love when HQ posts, hey, guys, 2010 this or 2011. I was at those games, man. Like, I went there as a fan. And if I wasn't working, I'd go right now. And I remember I was trying to be an MC so bad, like starting in 2011 or 12. And No one knew who I was. I mean, so I was at the games in 2011. I was at the games in 2012. 13 is the only year I did not go. It just didn't work out, and to this day I feel crappy that I didn't go. That's our Mecca, man. That's our people. That's every single person that is in that place has something that you can relate to. A day of mourning, a barbell movement, a meeting with their favorite CrossFitter. Man, I take a picture of people. I make a joke about this person or that person, then after the fact, like, hey, I made a joke because I'm working, but man, I'm a huge fan. You know, like in the games this year, sitting down, he's part of our media team now. Hopefully this year, Dan Bailey, every year because he's an Ohio guy. Dan Bailey, 2018. So I'll say it right there. You know, he's such a cool dude. I just worked with him a few weeks ago, and so much fun just sitting here eating breakfast with Dan, and we was just snotting ourselves because we were laughing so hard. It's so funny. Get to hang out with those people. And I remember it was sectionals at the time. I believe it was 2010, and it was at the it was in Columbus. I think around the Arnold time or something like that. That's when sectionals was. And I remember seeing this guy sprinting. It was like a sandbag, something or other. Someone's going to be like, oh, hey, was this workout? Blah, blah, blah. I don't remember it, but we see thousands of workouts. But he was sprinting, and someone's like, that guy was a college sprinter. I'm like, this dude is the fastest dude I've ever seen. I'm like, this is insane. Like, wow, this is crazy. And I had two friends that were competing at the time. Like, they're not going to beat this guy at all. So, like, this sucks. But just everybody has a story that you have the exact same story. It just might be a little bit different. And I think the community is so big now. How many affiliates? You know, there's so many thousands of affiliates.
17,000 or something at least.
Unbelievable, but it's so small. The community aspect, man, you can go to regionals and be tailgating, walk up to somebody like, hey, who you guys here with? You know, and just start chatting about everything. Hey, what's your franchise? What affiliate you guys go to? I just think it's the coolest thing, man. And, you know, people can hate about whatever they want to hate at. Hey, talk about the NFL right now. You probably want to, because I'm a Browns fan. We're doing pretty good right now. By the time this airs, we'll be owing everything. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm still a fan. So, man, I just think it's there's something for everybody.
All right, Mike. So me and you have a great opportunity being involved with the media team and the media aspect of CrossFit. I want to ask you just a little bit more about what is that like as an experience for you? You know, you just told your story about all the different games you've been to. So you've been a spectator and now you're on the media staff. How do you feel like your role affects the overall presentation of what CrossFit is?
You know, that's man, that should be an easy answer for me because we do work for HQ, you know what I mean? We're technically contractors, but I mean, we work for HQ, so we're representing that brand of CrossFit. But I look at it a little bit differently. You may be surprised to hear this, but I'm not a professional announcer. I actually technically I am now. It's been a bunch of years, but I came from an aspect of I'm just a super fan. I'm just a fan of CrossFit. I'm a fan of what these amazing human beings can do. I mean, even just from the affiliate level, you know, I love announcing for local competitions, you know, and I have people that I go to all the time, and they're like, you'll do that competition for us? I'm like, give me a microphone, we're about to kill it.
Right.
Like, let's have some fun because that's what it's about. So when I'm at regionals or at one of the larger off-season CrossFit events or functional fitness events or the CrossFit Games, I come from the same place. It's just different athletes, it's different preparation, different location. I just want to go have fun. I do want to do a good job. I want to pronounce people's names correctly. I want to know what I'm talking about. from a professional standpoint. But the only thing I know I want to do is I want to have a good time. I want those athletes that are performing to have a good time, and I want the crowd to just get as engaged as they possibly can and feel the way I feel. I want to go there, and I want HQ to know I'm a fan, first and foremost. I believe in the concept. I believe in CrossFit. Say whatever you want. That's what I believe in. I think that works. It will work for me. And I am like the toughest cookie to crack, as far as the fitness world or whatever. But it just works, man. And I just want people to understand that. So if I can give a little bit of passion and hype people up, and just, I'm going to do the same thing. I do the same thing if I'm at the gym with no microphone and I'm coaching a class. I'm telling you, you get MC Mike without the lights and, the microphone. That's it. I mean, I leave nothing else to the imagination. That is me here and here. It is ridiculously simple for me. I don't really know any other speed, man. I mean, I want to do a good job, and it takes some work to do some of the events that we do, because those are the long weekends and some of the 3-4 day events. But it doesn't feel like work to me. I mean, some days we're done and like, I'm spent. What did we do? We talked on a microphone and yelled on and woohoo! Like, those people out there were doing all the hard work. So how can I complain that I'm doing, like, I get to hang out with the fittest people on earth and maybe get some cool swag. But it is so cool, man. It's, we send Instagram stuff or hashtag dream job or whatever it is. I'm a full-time firefighter paramedic. That's my gig.
Right.
The MC thing is what I love, for sure. It is so much fun. I just wish I could do it every single day.
Right.
So a lot of people got to get a lot more fitter and got to have more competition.
I love it.
I want to do it every single time, man. If from an HQ side, I want to represent the brand. I want to be an athlete. I want to show people that I might not look like guy over here, but I'm trying to get that way. So I represent the brand, and I want to do that well. I want to do that with some sort of flair and articulate it well. I know what I'm talking about. I do the same thing they're doing, it just doesn't look as cool.
So I know I have a lot of cool stories, so I would love to hear one of yours, but I can't tell you how many times somebody came up to me after a competition and said, "Oh man, I heard you on the mic and A, B, C, D happened." Do you have any cool stories like that, Mike?
Man, I got like a crazy story of my first time emceeing for HQ.
Okay.
Everybody knows. Wait, he says the as well, where everybody else says the Chuck Carswell.
Yeah.
So my first time emceeing, and one of our guys that we work with, Dylan Malinsky, he is competing at regionals in the South at the time, the South region. And that's where I get the call up, man. I get the call up. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm going to work with this dude, Larry, and I see Larry before at regionals because I'm a super fan of that regionals. I know Larry. I'm like, all right, cool. I think I reached out to him, maybe email or something like that, and said, hey, man, remember me? I'm the guy, blah, 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 XYZ. So we kind of had a little bit of rapport. I show up. Everybody knows Dylan. Everybody knows Dylan. He's an athlete. He's screaming for him. All the people I'm working with are like, yeah, so this other guy's way awesome, and you're going to be taking his place. So I'm like, but anyway, so I'm like, okay, cool. I'm there to work. I'm there to do the job. And so far, I haven't been able to prove myself. So I go out there maybe the first heat or two, and I don't have a hat on. I'm standing right in the way. This is all you see. That's all you see, and I get Chuck Carswell, which I don't know at the time. I'm completely petrified of because he's in charge. And
he's an intimidating dude, yeah.
Everything goes by the watch, and he walks over to me, and he has a great presence about him. And he walks over to me and said, "Hey, your fat ass head's in the way of the camera, so if you could move, that'd be great." And I'm like, okay. So I just slide over to the side, and I tell you what, man, that dude is so legit and so cool. And he came over to me later and said, "Hey, man, I'm just letting you know," because he was getting yelled at in his ear. And so from that point on, obviously you try to learn the game a little bit. But that's just one of the stories that sticks to me. We see so much cool stuff, and we get to be behind the scenes of these amazing events. And right before Matt Fraser wins the East Regional in 2014 and goes to the game, and now everybody knows who Matt Fraser is. Right. I was there for that, and no one can take that away. And Matt knows me probably just as that's that dude, right? But I was there. You ain't taking that away. I was there during that, and I was there before, and I'm like, so those are the cool things that we get to see from a superfan position, working with HQ and CrossFit. I don't know, man. I mean, maybe I don't have very many cool stories, but they're all like they just clump together, and I go, oh yeah, that's right. I was there during that performance or whatever it is, and their performances, because man, there's people are putting up crazy numbers at these events or at the games, and they do something crazy and we're 15 feet from them. The best seat in the house. Best seat in the house.
Dude, I'm about to blow your mind. So you're talking about the regional that Dylan was at and competing. Yeah. I was there. It was when talking about the small community, right? So I lived in Florida at the time, and I had a buddy that was competing at regionals. And the only reason I knew Dylan was because I did a different competition in Florida, and I knew him as the guy with the voice, right?
Yeah.
And he had that reputation. I had no idea he could even work out. And it just so happened that on the workout with the rope climbs, where they were sprinting back and forth and doing the rope climbs, I was right under his lane. So all of a sudden, I'm like, I know that guy. So I bust out my phone and I start recording him. I'm like, I'll just get some video footage of him and send it over to him. So, dude, I was there. That was actually how me and Dylan very first connected ever. And it was the first time that I was like I had never been to regionals. It's my first time ever going to regionals. I remember being like, this is sick. Like, I got to figure out how to be a part of this. And at the time, it was like, oh, I'll just become an athlete. But sometimes, the ball falls a different direction. And now, like you said, we have the coolest seats in the house and some of the coolest opportunities, all because of that kind of stuff.
Dylan was crazy. I couldn't believe this. I'm like, just between you and I, and the camera, it surprises me how strong that kid is. Like where's he? He can't lift that weight. And just...
He's a fit guy.
I guarantee you I'm stronger than that dude, and he's proven time and time again that he will put way more weight over his head than I can. And I'm like, I give up, man. Like, I don't know. I got better gray hairs and beard, but no, I do. I think it was last year. I got a really cool story about being in Florida at Wodapalooza. Got to help a guy propose to a girl.
Oh, nice.
Literally, she finishes. They're both competitors. She finishes her heat. He is playing this out, and he came up on stage and proposed to her right as she finished, which was crazy because I think you finish a crazy workout, you probably say yes to anything at that point. But I guess to this day, everything's still going really well. So I'm hoping to reconnect with them this year, next month in Florida, and hopefully hear everything's going.
Dude, that's awesome.
That was really cool.
So you've been an athlete, part of media, coach, owner, all inside of the CrossFit community. What's some things that excite you about where the community's at right now and where it's going?
Is it weird to say that I like the fact that I feel like it's going back to basics? I feel like it's going to me, and I still say from a layperson's point of view, because I still just consider I'm a regular person, a regular CrossFitter, because I'm not out here doing some amazing fitness things, but from an OG, if I'm allowed to say that, from 2009, man, I feel like CrossFit is coming back to some basic movements and basic things. even though gymnastics are getting crazy, and people are doing some really cool things, but fitness, nobody invented this fitness, what we're doing now, just tweaking it a little bit. And the things that Dave Castro comes up with, and some of these other events, Wadapalooza, what they come up with, they're just taking fitness as a whole and go, okay, we have to hone this in a little bit. And how can we make it tough? How can we make it just prove that, you're a fit person compared to all these other fit people? Like, you're the fittest or whatever it may be. I just really like the rawness of fitness. Nothing's really changed in thousands of years of fitness except for we're pushing something fancy, or an implement, or we're going to do it in this really scientifically figured out rep scheme. Push-ups, sit-ups, running, lift heavy stuff, move it fast, move it far. That's fitness, and that's survival fitness. I love that aspect of it. I'm excited for some of the evolution of the entrance of like the military and police and firefighter twists to things. Pick up something crazy and move it here, but then do this. I would love to see, we had to work with some police officers, and I love that thing when I see guys post it. They'll do 15, 20 burpees or whatever, and they have to stand up and then they got to shoot a moving target. That stuff's really cool to me. I don't think I can do it, but I guess I can't do it right now. But I love that stuff. I like seeing people do things and have to work their brain. I know I would not be good at that, but that's intriguing to me. If that makes sense. I like that aspect of it. So, I like seeing that our troops are implementing CrossFit into their fitness and SWAT teams and using Murph as qualifiers to be on the SWAT team. As one of our partners is on the SWAT team, and their SWAT team uses Murph. You got to pass Murph, as a qualifier. That to me is humongous credit for CrossFit, even though we know it's always been there. But I think that will make some huge changes in the future, and people will really see, and it'll really start to implement and kind of dig its claws into society as far as that goes.
Yeah. I think for the little bit I saw, I couldn't agree with you more. I felt like there was a period of time, I don't know, maybe like 2012 to 14, where like here was this new toy of CrossFit and people were trying to figure out how many ways can they play with this toy, when really, if they just sort of left it as it was and played with it, they would have had just as much fun,
Yeah.
And I feel like
getting back there. It's like, and I love, we saw it in 2012, and now we're going to see it again. I love that. Sandbags, man, it's so simple, but it's so brutal. I love that. I love it.
Yeah. Do pull-ups, do thrusters, go. Do
squats
super
fast, do them super heavy. I mean, we understand it's the CrossFit Games. The CrossFit Games is not me. It's not me as a CrossFit athlete. And we say that a lot. And we try to make people understand that that's not CrossFit. And CrossFit will say that. It's the 1% of the 1%. And as long as we keep putting that out there, I want to see those people do the most amazing things. I want to see them lift the heaviest barbells. I want to see them do the craziest things, because arguably I'll never be able to do that. So, man, it's just so cool to see where fitness can go. The sky's the limit, man. But when you fall out of ideas, take it back to the old school and just rip that harder and make it heavier, make it faster. You want to be really good at CrossFit? Do what you're doing right now. Just do CrossFit. Just do it way better.
Right. So the last thing I want to touch on, Mike, before I let you go, man, is, we were talking about all the different events that you get to work at. And I told you a little bit about my story as far as what I've started implementing really the last 2 years, as far as, really trying to get something out of those experiences. Do you do anything in particular when you're on the road, when you're doing those events, that you kind of patting yourself on as far as like, hey, this is who I am? I know you're a very open dude and genuine dude, but there's also times, we talk about it. We are on the microphone. Everybody thinks it's just so easy for us to be these guys that everybody wants to talk to, hang out with, and that's really not always the case. Like, I know I'm actually coming to myself outside of a scenario like that. Is there anything that you've kind of started to do, you know, maybe you started doing it day one, or you continue to do it now, that really you get the most out of all those events that you've been a part of?
This is going to sound so super lame, but I mean, I just try, number one, I try to get to bed early because I'm weird, man. I want to be on site. I want to be at the venue. I want to be on a job. I want to work early. I want to be there first, leave there last, work hard, and, I want to just do a good job. But, when we're on the road, for me, we talked about nutrition. That's the hardest part for me is when I travel is just trying to stay on my nutritional game if I can, or just try to be as clean as possible. So surrounding myself with people that will hold me accountable. And we've probably had conversations like, man, don't let me eat ice cream tonight. Like, let's save it for the last day. Let's, whatever the case may be. Or some of the guys we work with, they want to work out once, twice a day. And man, call me. Maybe I'll tell you no, but don't not call me because I want to try. I want to try to keep that regular routine, even if we're on the road, if we're spent, we're burning at both ends, because it's just so critical, and it makes me work harder anyway. So that's my biggest thing. Nutrition is the biggest thing when I'm on the road. Second is trying to get at least 1 or 2 workouts in while I'm on the road. Whatever it is, even if it's, everybody knows hotel gyms are not the greatest. But, get out there, do some dumbbell thrusters. If you've ever done dumbbell thrusters, don't talk to me.
They're awful.
Dumbbell thrusters can crush anybody. I don't care if it's 20 pounds, 30 pounds, you just do not do enough reps, whatever it is. So do something and, when in doubt, just find a good protein bar, eat that, and then get us on.
Right.
That's my tip. But no, I just try to keep it legit as I possibly can.
Yeah. And it goes back to what's funny, the last thing we'll say here is it goes back to the essence of what your started CrossFit was, which is the accountability aspect of why you're here and how it all started, and keeping that accountability going no matter where you're at or who you're with.
That's it. I mean, it really is. Accountability has been my number one key to fitness, nutrition, job, life, my life, Communication is the most basic thing you can do. If you can't talk about your feelings, whether they're good or bad, you're jacked up. So tell my wife, hey, don't let me smash this cake that someone left here at our house. Just don't let me do it. Right. Even if I say, I'm going to work out later, let me have the cake. Be like, you told me not to, let you have the cake. It's accountability. For me, that works, and I think it works for everybody, just depending on your level. Maybe you'll be like, hey, I got to hit 6 workouts this week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let me know. You have a household that can really help you out with that. I mean, you're blessed as far as that goes. So, things happen. So get somebody that's going to just call you up and like, dude, I saw you this weekend. You was a little soft. You know what I mean? Like you better get on that treadmill, whatever it is.
Right.
And when in doubt, there's a treadmill around the corner somewhere, so get on it.
Yep. So cool. Well, Mike, you're the man, dude. I appreciate you spending some time with me today, getting to know you a little bit, talking all this good stuff. It's been awesome. Where can people find you if they want to look you up, man?
Look me up, man. Mike Richards on Facebook. Cadre Mike on Instagram.
Awesome.
Not a big social media guy, but I put a little something every once in a while that's kind of funny. I got a French bulldog in my family, so that's my loves right there. So you might see kids and French bulldogs and a lot of coffee pictures of my espresso machine, something like that. So
sick. Well, awesome, man. I once again appreciate you, man, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, buddy.
See you guys.
For more information about Driven Nutrition, head over to www.drivennutrition.com.